Hello, it's Tom from Quantemplate here, and today we're going to be looking at how we organise documents in Quantemplate. So, as you know, there are three sections to the Quantemplate app: integrate, data and analyse, and now they've got different colour codes. So integrate is green, data is purple, and analyse is red. And that's just to help you navigate your way around. When you're looking at these new document repos, you get a sense of where you are in the app. So we're going to have a look at the data repo today, and we've rolled out a number of new features to make it easier to understand and organize your documents. So I am looking at my data sets. They are currently sorted by last updated date. So the most recently updated one is appearing at the top, and the least recently is at the bottom. I can change that sort direction by clicking these arrows here. So that's reversing the sort direction. And I can change the criteria that I'm sorting by. So if I want to sort them by name, I just click on that, and you can see because I've got a naming convention for output datasets and reference datasets, it's sorted them accordingly. I can also sort by updated by, so if you want to see, say, the documents that you updated or another user updated at the top, then that sort will do that for you. Now, if we just have a look at this row and what's in this row, we can see we've got the document name, we've got the row count of the dataset, which is quite handy to see just to get a sense of what size the dataset is. Now, if it's only a dataset of headers, so I've got a reference schema here. If we go and look at that, that's got no rows of data, it's just headers. Now, if we want to get back to the repo view, we just click on the folder icon. So no rows of data there, so that row count doesn't get listed. The next item along is when the file was last edited and who edited it. And the next item of information we're putting here is who the owner of the file is and how many users have access. And when this little building icon is here, that means that file has been shared with the whole organization. And there's a handy little feature here where if you click on this area, it opens the sharing pop-up. So I can see who has access, and I can add other members to share with from right in this view. I don't have to go and open the document to do that. So I'm just going to add Martina Brito as an editor to this file. And I can see that she's been added. I can also share a document with an API user. So if I have an API set up for my organization, the API user needs access to read the documents for uploading data, downloading data, running pipelines. So I can quickly see that this icon indicates that this document has been shared with an API user. And the next useful bit of information here is the dataset information pop-up. So if we click on this, you may have seen this already in the dataset view, in your pipeline outputs view, and in your pipeline inputs view as well. But this dataset information pop-up tells you when the document was created, who created it, how many rows it is, and the dataset ID, which is quite handy if you're setting up an API to reference this dataset. It shows you who updated that dataset and how. So this one was written to via a pipeline called example pipeline, and I can click on that to open the pipeline. And now if you have a look at the information on this dataset, we can see that it's being used by another pipeline. So another pipeline here called underwriting process is using this dataset as a reference dataset input. And if I click on that, I will be able to open the pipeline in a new tab. And finally, partners. If you have partner sharing set up for your organization, you can see which datasets are shared with which partner. So this is shared with partner organisation JC-RE. And the idea of including all this information is that you know the impact of, say, archiving this dataset or renaming it or sharing it. You know what the impact to connected files and partners is going to be. So talking of archiving and renaming, you can click on this 3 little dot icon at the end, and that opens up a few options. The first one is if you just quickly want to copy the link, maybe to share it with someone, just click that. If you want to download the dataset, you don't need to open the dataset to download it. You can just download it straight from this view by clicking that. If you want to duplicate the dataset, that will create a duplicate. And let's just see how that works. So it's instantly created a duplicate, it's opened it, and it's added copy to the end of the name. Now I can rename this dataset if I want to. I can rename it here just by clicking and editing. Or if we go back to the repo view, I can click the rename button here, and then I'm able to just edit that name. So a question we are sometimes asked about renaming files is, if I rename this dataset, are all the pipelines that reference that dataset going to lose their link to it? And the answer to that is no. When you rename a file in Quantemplate, everything that references that file will automatically pick up the new name. You don't need to go and relink stuff. Now actually I want to archive this document, so let's click on that 3 little dot button again, and I just click archive. It asks me, are you sure you want to archive this document? Because if this dataset is archived, then pipelines that reference that dataset won't be able to access it anymore. So I do want to archive this document because I know it's not being used by any other pipelines. And there, it's gone. Now, when you archive a document, it's not deleted forever. It's just available here. And this is the hide show archived button. So if I click that, I can see that it's there. And I can see other archived documents that I have access to here. Now, the little shortcut is just hitting A on the keyboard. So I'm just hitting A to hide and show the archived documents. And another little handy shortcut is F on the keyboard. And F opens up the filter bar. So I can now add filters to these datasets. And this is just an easy way to quickly search and find datasets. So you've got this search bar up here, which I could look for, if I'm looking for a specific dataset, addresses, just search in there. That's a quick and lightweight way to search. But if I want to do something a bit more advanced, I might want to look by which documents have been updated this year. Okay, so I select date updated is after, and then here you can just type in there in that format if you want, or if you click on the calendar icon, there's a nice little date picker. Let's go back to December the 31st, and so that'll give me all the documents that have been updated in the year of 2023 so far. I can then add another filter to that and select by another criteria. So that's the name contains ref. Okay, that's all the documents that match that criteria. So that's another handy way to quickly find and make sense of all the documents in your data repo. I can hit F again on the keyboard just to hide that filter bar. The filter button there being highlighted blue means that those filters are still applied. But if we just go in there, I can remove them like that, just toggle them off. Or I can clear them completely with the X icon to delete them. So that's filters. The other button we have up here, of course, is the New button, and as you might expect, that creates a new document. So click that. It opens the new document where you can name it. Then I can just upload my data straight into that view. And there it is. I've got my document information up there. I've got the history of this file, and I'm able to share it, apply filters to it, download it. So that's all about how to organize documents such as datasets, pipelines, and reports in Quantemplate.